How's it going, guys? This is Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do a mission on flooded foothills called Flood Aftermath. I'm going to loop up here. I'm actually going to use the bridge that I finally built. I'm kind of going to go a bit freestyling, cutting across the river, loop round, grab those two things, which are service spare parts, I believe, and then cut over the river again and follow. There is a road going down here, but I've kind of covered it up with a line that I've drawn, but yeah, there is one there. There's a little gap through the trees, and then just drop it off down a little cabin or whatever that's at the end. And for this one, I'm bringing the Dolphin. I've been using plenty of different trucks recently, trying to squeeze a bit of life out of them, but yeah, I've had enough of getting stuck and going 1 mile an hour. So I'm going to have a bit of fun. We've whipped out the Dolphin for this one, and of course, I'm bringing a goddamn horsepower vehicle with me because it's just the sensible thing to do. Everyone needs to get themselves a loaf. I need spare fuel, spare points, spare winch, who knows, or just a good old time. Yeah, the builders are back today, so I'm going to hopefully, like about 7:45 this morning, they started still sawing the floor up. Or, well, I don't know, I call them still saws, like a petrol saw that cuts concrete out the floor. One of them started firing that up at 7:45 in the morning, so yeah, that's what I got to listen to. In fact, I think I could just hear them then in the background. When they're not still sawing the floor up, they've got like a giant jackhammer on a mini digger or something, they're pecking the floor out, so yeah. I'm going to see if I can kind of squeeze this in between. That's definitely what she said. But yeah, I don't know, and the other thing, when I'm editing these, I only get like, I think it's like 8 slots or something where I can add voice, so every time they start up and I have to stop, like I run out of slots where I can add my voice, and then I have to start deleting stuff, and it becomes a whole pain in the arse. That's why I just didn't make the video the other day, because, yeah, I essentially have to keep deleting stuff, re-going over it, and it doesn't sound as natural or anything when I'm trying to repeat what I was saying. Anyway, though, as you can see, I did eventually use my bridge, and nearly, as I got there, I had a little conscience crisis. I was like, well, I do like cutting through the water, if I'm honest. All things considered, the fact that this motor's along pretty nicely through the mud, it probably was quicker to loop round past the bridge, but I do think in some situations, I've drove along that road I just went down, so bloody slow in some vehicles that just kind of sit hovering around first gear or whatever. It might even be quicker just to cut across the river. It depends what you're using. As well, another thing, yeah, I think right now, I try and turn the fog off by changing the weather. They have gone a little bit crazy on the fog on this game. It never goes away. I don't mind the fog, but, like, never ending. Like they're trying to make a sequel to that film, The Snowman. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, one thing I do enjoy with the old Dolphin, I mean, it's called a Dolphin for a reason. It handles itself pretty well through water. Yeah, like I said, I could have kind of gone further over to the left, cut across. There's like a little rock ledge way that you can go around, but I fancied just kind of aiming my Dolphin wherever I like, floor it, keep it pinned, fingers crossed. There's a little rock ledge that I could have used, but you see, we've got a pair of professionals. As I've said before, where we're going, we don't need roads. And this is one of the few times I actually am happy to go this kind of speed. This speed feels natural, it feels realistic. That's the main thing that I'm looking for in this game. Is yeah, if it feels roughly how you would imagine things work in real life, and yeah, cutting through the water, I can live with that. It's nice to bring the flatbed thing out as well, because obviously normally I use the sideboard because it's essentially like fences in whatever you put in there, but now we can actually pack vehicles. It's yeah, I'm getting a lot of use out of it. I always thought I would because I bring a loaf everywhere with me, but at least I don't need to use the winch now to keep it kind of pulled into the edge of the flatbed, or again, I would normally have a sideboard on. So it's jiggling around like a good one. It don't fling off there anymore, which is nice. And yeah, like I said, I've got to grab 2 service spare parts. So my original intention, well, I already knew they'd probably be struggling to make it happen once I get there, but yeah, I was originally deciding I'll just reverse the loaf off the flatbed. That's one reason it was handy this time to have a flatbed, and then stick the cargo on the flatbed and just tow the loaf behind me. But every now and then, plans change, things happen. So what I do like about the Dolphin, though, particularly, again, there's a few good trucks like the Tiger, the Voron Grad. There is others as well, but I'd say this and those two are kind of pretty much the top of the tree on everything. Yeah, it just motors along pretty nicely. You're not forever having to jump from like high to auto to low range and all the rest of it. If you can wind it up high enough, which isn't that hard to get it into high range, it's pretty solid for staying in high range. If you start blipping the throttle on that, then it's going to die. That's just the nature of like what it does in the game. But yeah, overall it's just like a more enjoyable drive. Like instead of constantly thinking, oh for Christ's sake, and trying to put it in a different gear, you just get left alone to enjoy yourself with it. And yeah, with trucks like this, I've kind of invented my own little route over here. I could have just followed, to a degree, most of the roads. I think there was a proper road cutting through the water, kind of where I just almost did a U-turn on myself. But yeah, it just allows you to kind of mix it up a bit more. That's the same thing as I said with the winches. Since I've weakened them, that's just kind of hampered a little bit of the I don't know, yeah, the general free-natured spirit of the game that was like, just go and get up to some shit and winch yourself out of it. Now they're a little bit, yeah, and the same with the cranes. Still not too keen on them. Yeah, in the end, I decided, at least for this one so far, I'll wear it like a hat. The Lo4f's doing just fine where he is. Squeeze it down onto the cab with the crane arm. It should stay there pretty well, to be fair. I have done this quite a lot. This is not my first time. And yeah, especially if you use the crane to kind of sandwich it down onto the roof, it hangs on pretty well. And because somewhere on the roof is the snorkel for the Dolphin, it kind of, yeah, you can see it just at the back of it. I don't know if it does any more specifically, but sometimes when you put it down, you can kind of lock it, like the snorkel goes up inside the crate and then it kind of locks it on your roof even better then. Yeah, I could have reversed it, but I thought, right, we'll keep it pinned. We'll see. Can we make it round? Of course we can. And to be honest, this thing flies through the water and everything just fine. It's the rocks that are all underwater that are, they hold most things up. And again, I don't really mind, like I am cutting through a river. A few rocks are to be expected. I can see kind of like why they've put that in, to make it a little bit. If there was just no rocks and it was a pretty smooth riverbed, they'd barely count as an obstacle. You just drive through it pretty easily. So overall, I actually think that section of it, like the rivers and everything, they have got pretty balanced. You'll see now, I was trying to reverse then, and I thought, oh, is it the current that's stopping me? I think I was just caught on a rock, because eventually I did start reversing. I tried to reach, by the way, I edited it out. I tried to reach that cargo container over there, and yeah, the crane not having it. It just kept trying to winch back to me or something, or jumping for that first container that I'm wearing like a hat. And then at this point, I did roll it. Well, not completely, you'll see. And I could have got out of it. And to be honest, as I quit the game, I was kind of like, well, did I really need to do that? But once I roll something, like obviously the next time it brings up the saving icon, that's it. So you have to kind of make a pretty quick decision if you're going to turn the game off. So I turned the game off, and then as I loaded it back up, as you can see, the crane did a 360. Tried to slap my Lo4f off there, but he was going nowhere. Slapped my cargo off, and then now. So why do I have to break everything? I swear it wasn't. It's not intentional. These things just happen. So yeah, I've fisted my Dolphin. Good job it's not right on drive. Someone could have been killed. When I was looking inside though, as you can see, the crane is going through my window, but you can kind of see the A-pillar, A-frame, whatever it's called, of the window. I mean, that's definitely inside the cab, but yeah, when you look at it, it's like an optical illusion. It looks like it's still outside the window. I gave it a little go. I was trying to kind of control it, see if I could actually do anything. It was wedged in there good. There was no getting out. I couldn't extend it, couldn't shorten it, couldn't move it left, right, up, down. Couldn't do anything with it. Fortunately, it does have obviously the restore crane option. Otherwise, I don't really know. If it would have been one of them times, I would have actually had to have recovered. This is why I keep saying the Lo4f. It's about time they give the crane, the Lo4f a crane. Clearly, it's capable. It can handle it. Yeah, it's pretty slow progress reversing through the river. This was kind of like the main slow bit of the mission. Everything else went pretty well. Well, I still think this was going pretty well if I do say so myself. It's just me being an awkward sod. I could have just drove forward into a slightly more shallow bit and then reversed up, but I was like, nope, I'm going to reverse it, god damn it. Of course, the Lo4f is probably helping out at the minute. Bit of weight distribution. Everyone needs a weight distribution Lo4f. Keep some good old weight on them rear wheels. We got out there. I think I stuck a winch on the tree then, which pretty good idea if I do say so myself. Yeah, this thing ain't going nowhere. So obviously they haven't removed that bug even still, and I'm sure with the crane 360, I mean, when did that first happen to me? I believe it happened even when I was doing that cement for the region mission, so that was not even this update, that might have even been the Imandra update. Either an Imandra update or the one in between, but I'm pretty sure it was probably as far back as then, because yeah, that's when we got like the new Michigan missions. And one of the Dolphins I left at the entrance to Quarry because it kept doing the 360 crane thing, and it was the first time it showed up for me then, so I just kind of left one there to see, is it going to keep doing it or what was going on, and then I started noticing it with other vehicles, so I was like, oh, it's not so much of a rare bug. A few people mentioned it in the comments as well. So yeah, we're back. I've got to grab both of them again because obviously the crane slapped one of the boxes off. And then yeah, again, I still couldn't bring myself to kick the loaf off the flatbed. He's having a good old time there, he doesn't need to go anywhere. But I was already eyeballing this on the way, because one thing with the Dolphin that people have said before, like, why is there a gap between the back of the cab and the crane? Although I do agree, I believe if you sort of look where like the crane legs and that would stick out, if they move the crane forward, it'd kind of be hitting the second axle, like the steerable axle of the Dolphin. So I can see why they've done it, but either way, I've managed to squeeze a loaf in that gap before. That's definitely what she said. So I already knew the service spare part should squeeze in there pretty nicely. Then we can go and get service spare part number 2, wear it like a hat. That's what the professional would have wanted. He's all good in his little Dolphin seat. Got up to many things while I've been sat there. So one thing I really wish they would patch is the horrific slowness of when you try and rotate cargo. I mean, what was that like? 10 degrees I had to rotate it, probably took 10 or 15 seconds. Sometimes we have to rotate something 90 degrees. I end up editing probably almost a minute out of the videos, which is why I very rarely these days show the actual bit. I mean, when I loaded the loaf onto the Dolphin at the beginning when I was in the yard, I did it with a P12, and the P12 crane, like, that's certainly fine for lifting stuff like the Scouts, but again, it rotated my loaf 90 degrees, and yeah, it takes bloody forever. Oh god, you can hear them starting up in the background again, just to wait for another gap in the noise. To be honest, they're so loud when they're doing whatever they're doing that when they stop, it sounds eerily quiet everywhere. Anyway, yeah, we're loaded up, ready to go. So it looks like it might tip there, but it's all good. That's another good thing about the Dolphin, is it's pretty solid for not tipping, to be honest, considering I've got a loaf on the back, multiple cargo stacked up on the roof. Again, just trying to bump my way over the rocks, but it's not too bad. And yeah, that's it, just got to get over here, follow the road up, and we're there. I was going to say as well, as I was mentioning yesterday about those Range Rovers that come flying around the roundabout and stuff that I believe were moving heroin. So a few people in fact were saying and asking, like, it was probably humans, like, you know, VIPs, royal family, that kind of thing getting moved. Ordinarily I'd agree. I certainly don't think the Range Rovers themselves, they did look more like a motorcade than cargo movers, but I'm 99.99% sure there was no humans inside because they were absolutely flying. They went round this roundabout at a good 40-50 mile an hour. Like, just the urgency with which, like, the bikes flew onto the roundabout blocked everything. These things were not drifting round the roundabout, but they were, you know, damn near tyres screeching, leaning over a bloody lot, and they were absolutely flying. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have human cargo inside because they'd be half dead by the time they got there. Like I say, it's probably the kind of general setup you'd see for a motorcade, but it's the sort of thing you'd see out of a film after the VIP or something in the car got shot and then they're absolutely flying out of there. Yeah, like the rumours we heard over, well, we actually, the whole heroin bust thing, like the biggest ever seizure or something, was in the papers the previous few days, so we already had heard about that. Obviously, yeah, me and my brother just seen all that happen with the Range Rovers come flying around, and then just as we, like, mentioned it to people, you heard sort of little bits and bobs over the next week or so. The apparent rumour was, yeah, there was like the biggest ever seizure of heroin that stole off some pretty serious gang. This gang was apparently thinking of raiding the police station this stuff was stored at. It was probably, I mean, again, it was all in the newspapers and everything, so they probably kind of knew exactly what police station it was at. And yeah, there was rumours going around that this gang were basically going to hit that police station and just go in and try and get their heroin back, which, again, I heard numbers from around 30 million quid's worth to 100 million quid's worth. I really don't know which. Personally, 100 million sounds a bit crazy, but you never know. I have no idea. I don't even know what a quid's worth of heroin looks like, let alone 100 million quid's worth. If it was that much, that's the most expensive thing that's ever driven near me or past me. Yeah, like, it had a sense of urgency to it, like they were absolutely getting that shit out of there before somebody steals it, and they also appeared to be like, the possibility of somebody trying to intercept it on the way from one police station to the other was quite a large possibility, because like I said, they were blocking all the roads off and everything. Obviously they were blocking roads off as well to keep the road clear. I mean, yeah, when I seen them go past, it was like about the only time I've ever wanted to join the police is when I realised, like, I don't know, rally spec heroin delivery was a job. I'm like, I'll do that. Get the whole road closed off for you. I don't care what I'm delivering. I'll deliver a basket of eggs for all I care, but if you have 10 police bikes that are just blocking all the roads off and turning the next mile into a perpetual rally course, that'd be pretty good. Speaking actually, I'll tell you a little quick story. We basically got there now, but I'm going to go for a little cruise with the Lo4f. Yeah, years ago when me and my brother Adam this time, we were in the Isle of Man in what car? I think it was a Renault Laguna we had. So nothing, I mean, it was a bit of a nail, to be honest. The sort of nail we'd go drifting in the winter when it's snowing with. Yeah, anyway, we were on the Isle of Man driving around, and we seen a load of like old school rally cars, like Mark II Escorts, all that kind of thing, and we're like, oh, that's cool. We generally started following them. We were on the main road anyway, it was like public roads. Started following them, they're all turning off at this road. We all started just going up the road because we're like, oh, we'll go and see what they're up to. And yeah, next thing, they all stopped in front of us, so we had to stop. And then I looked out the window, like stuck my head out and could see in front of us, and we genuinely pulled up on a rally stage in the Isle of Man. Of yeah, all these people, they'd obviously gone and done a rally stage somewhere. We're driving to the next stage on the roads, and we just, yeah, started following them. So yeah, we ended up in this starting lineup for the rallying, and this woman was coming down with a checkboard, obviously just, I don't know, asking everyone their names or whatever. She got to us, she could tell straight away, like, we weren't supposed to be in this rally, had no roll cage, no markings on the car or anything like that. But yeah, my brother used to live there for quite a while. I stayed/lived, I mean, either or. Yeah, he knew the roads pretty damn well, and we were up for a bit of rallying, and we were saying to the woman, was like, couldn't please just let us attempt the rally anyway. And to be fair, she was pretty cool, you'd think, normally. That's one thing I like about the Isle of Man. I'll get to that in a sec, but yeah, she basically said, if you had helmets, I'd happily let you attempt the rally, but because you haven't got helmets, if anything happens, she's going to get it. So, yeah, so we weren't allowed to do the rally, so in the end we just reversed back down the road and left. Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I like about the Isle of Man, though, because they've got stuff like no speed limits in the mountain section, so when you go through a village, it's 30 miles an hour, but as soon as you see a national speed limit sign, which, for those of you that don't live in Britain or anything, you see like a white sign with a black diagonal stripe through it, that means national speed limit, and in England that generally means 60 mile an hour. Yeah, in the Isle of Man that means just go flat out if you want, and I know this is kind of bad, but it's the principle of it, you'll see what I mean. There was a road where yeah, it was a national speed limit, you could go as fast as you wanted down there, and some kid, basically, that had just passed the driving test, had a Subaru Impreza, so 2 litre turbo, I mean the things ain't slow, went flying down that road at about something stupid like 120 mile an hour. He crashed and died. So the parents were then kind of kicking off saying, yep, this whole national speed limit thing, it's a joke, it's dangerous, all the rest of it, and it needs to be banished or whatever, this stretch of road needs to be made like a 60 mile an hour limit, and all the rest of it. And the Isle of Man government, I suppose, response to them, which I sort of appreciate, is like, thousands of people go down that road every day just fine, just because it says national speed limit and you can go as fast as you like. That doesn't mean go as fast as you physically can until you hit something and die. So yeah, and it's kind of true. It's like, what were you know, you've given your son a 2 litre turbo Subaru Impreza for his first ever car. Like, you weren't exactly helping the situation, because I mean, yeah, you know what teenagers are like, especially back then. Like, a Subaru Impreza is a bloody that's a beast for your first car. That's a beast even for a car. So it's they weren't really helping the situation. Like, he was probably going to get himself in a bit of a mess at some point. But yeah, just all it is like, you know, in England, how, or a lot of places these days, kind of health and safety mad to avoid getting sued. It's like one idiot does something, and then everybody has to be restricted so that idiots don't kill themselves. Whereas, yeah, I just think it's better when it's like, let the idiots kill themselves. I'm not saying I'm above dumb shit. I've done loads of dumb stuff where it's like, bloody hell, I could have died doing that. But that's my own risk. If I crash doing something stupid or whatever, it's like, I don't think everybody else should be now treated like a 10-year-old to make sure no one else. Make sure it happens to no one else. It is what it is. That guy was having his fun. He took his chances, and it went wrong. It's obviously not a good thing. Not glad anything happened to him, but yeah, it's just that's how the government and that should be. Like, no, nobody forced him to go down that road at 120 mile an hour, and there was no reason to go down that road at 120 mile an hour. So the fact that he did and killed himself is not everybody's problem. Like, everybody shouldn't be restricted to 60 just because your son, who's just passed, can't handle a 2-litre turbo rally car, essentially. And yeah, I kind of agree with that, to be honest. It's like, you shouldn't really limit everyone just because someone was having a mad 5 minutes and couldn't handle what they got themselves into. Like I say, it's sad, but it happens. It's the same with the TT, though, over there. They did the TT racing. Like I said, my dad died in the TT, my brother's dad died in the TT. And then you get every year, people are like, oh, we need to stop the TT because it's dangerous and people die. And it's like, people die on their way to work. People fall down the stairs and die while they're trying to put a pair of trousers on. So it is what it is. Enjoy what you do. Yeah, half the people, everybody who races the TT knows the risks, and I think that's why they race it. If anything, I'd say it'd be worse if they stopped the TT, because then everybody who's died attempting to conquer the mountain, as they say, it's like you've sort of made their efforts null and void then, because now you're not letting anybody else compete to try and beat their records that they set and so on. So yeah, like, I absolutely think they should carry it on. And anyway, I was having a little drive. I cut through the river again, past my little Tiger. I was on my way back to the garage. Gave my Antarctic a little nudge. Threaded the needle. Got through the gap. Gave the trailer a little nudge. Now we're going to go and ram this cat. Just because we can. That's what I like about the Dolphin, though. It was one thing I was kind of demonstrating to myself, among anything else, was that you can smash into stuff and you don't take engine damage, which is really nice and convenient. Because in case you haven't noticed, despite my careful driving nature, occasionally your tree or truck or trailer or lamppost or anything just dives out in front of me at the last second and I hit it. To be fair as well, I have got a harsh driver sticker on my my Dolphin now, so it's not like fair warning was not given. This section here, this one little patch here, is like super duper mud. I don't think I've had anything that has gone through there faster than that. And then you get to about here and it kind of eases up a little bit. And yeah, at this point, like I say, I'm just kind of going wherever I like, not really doing anything particular, just enjoying a little cruise with a Dolphin and Lo4f, having vehicles that actually make their way along the map pretty realistically, considering there is still definitely restrictions on top of every other map, it appears, on these new maps. But yeah, all things considered, the Dolphin still feels within the realm of, like, it still feels pretty realistic. See there to my left, the Kodiak C70. That's how far I got with that until I was like, nope. In fact, I didn't even get that far. I think the dad dragged it out of there. It was kind of, I abandoned it kind of mid-river. I'm done with you. To be fair, the Kodiak isn't, like, bad or anything. It's just this map is, like, yeah, it's sort of been tuned to the point where only the top trucks can really make any kind of decent progress on this map. Everything else is just limping along at half a mile an hour. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today's mission. Like, pretty soon, I've already sort of been attempting them with the 2 trials. I had a little go on the Lo4f trial, to be honest. I didn't really pay attention to whatever I was supposed to be doing. I just went for a little drive around in the Lo4f. And the other one, where you get like 2 pay stars, one's got a crane, one's got a trailer, and you got to go and fetch 4 large pipes and bring them back to the warehouse. It's kind of the biggest challenge of that trial is not tipping your pay stars. Like, it's pretty doable, but yeah, you got to sort of tiptoe your way through so you don't tip them. So I will have a go with that pretty soon, hopefully when these builders are gone and get a bit of peace and quiet. But yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a Lo4f and a Dolphin, and I'll be back soon.